as it loads. All right, we're live. Woo! I think the first like 10 seconds of live are cut off anyway. So I guess we could,
Are they?
I don't know. I think so. So we could really say whatever we want and nobody would ever see it. I
Yeah.
think they do it because of the buffer. But
Well, that hot mic starts. Yeah.
right, yeah. Yeah, like Mark, the hot mic. Who knows what we were talking about before we went live?
I know.
Good morning. Hope everyone's having a great morning out there. Today we're going to talk about what to look for in a protein powder. We're going to get into the nitty gritty, what to look for, the ingredients, the macros, all that fun stuff. I am just waiting for this to pop up so I can tag everyone, but it's not popping up yet. So, looks like we're not tagging everyone in this one.
All right. It'll be a delayed tag.
Yeah, what's up with that? That's so weird. I guess I'll keep an eye out for it, but that is weird that it's just not popping up as it normally does. All right, I guess let's start talking. So talk to me about first off, let's talk about the why. Why should we even use protein powder? Like why? Like who needs protein powder? Like let's dive into the who, what, why, where, all that good stuff. Go for it.
In general, Americans lack enough protein in their diet. And I'm talking about general population. I'm not talking about bodybuilders, fitness competitors, athletes, or anyone like that. So if you work with us or you're about to work with us, you'll learn that when we look at calories and macros, protein is one of the macronutrients. And it is very, very common for us to say you're not eating enough protein, like you're not taking in enough. And so there are different ways to get protein. Real food, whether you're vegan or not, whether you eat animal meat or not, that's one way to get protein. But most people, unless they spend a lot of time planning all of their meals and have time to sit down and eat all of their meals, then protein powder is a great go-to, whether it's before or after exercise or anytime during the day.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. So pretty much the majority of people, they need this. Because I find the same thing. Yeah, people usually when we do their intro are always like the first lever we pull is increased protein intake so that they're fuller, right? They don't have as many cravings since they're more full. And it just makes the whole process of trying to be in a caloric deficit easier. So that makes sense. Love it.
It does. And it's also, there are a lot of health benefits that go along with protein. So yeah.
Heck yeah. So all right, so let's say I've determined, all right, proteins for me. I need to have this. What's like the first thing? I step into a GNC, I go to Google online, I go to Amazon, whatever. What am I looking for? What should I consider?
There are different properties. Some of them are properties that I think everyone should look at, and then some of them are personal preference. Okay. So in general, there are always exceptions. So I'm going to go through this list, and someone's going to say, but what about, yes, so I'm telling you right now there are exceptions, but in general, you look at absorption, mixability, usability, ingredients, biological value, concentration, price, and of course, taste.
Ooh. Yeah, you touched upon some good stuff there. I like it. Let's break it down.
All right. So again, I can't say this enough. These are general comments.
Yes. Right.
If I were to work with a client, there would be exceptions. Like I'm telling you right now, there will be exceptions. So this is a general statement. I just see all the flutter of all these comments of people saying, but there are buts. Again, general. So in general, there are many types of protein. I'm just going to touch on 2 or 3 because if not, we'd be here until like next Tuesday. So there's whey, which is spelled W-H-E-Y, whey, not like W-A-Y, way out or anything like that. Whey, casein, C-A-S-E-I-N.
Yep.
There are many others, but I'm going to skip ahead to one of the many vegan proteins, which is pea protein. So again, there are many that I'm not touching on. Like there's a list this long. Okay. Whey is fast acting, fast absorbing, fast digesting. Okay. Casein is slow. Pumpkin is another type of protein, by the way. But pea protein is slower. That doesn't mean that you can't make whey slower. Again, there are a lot of exceptions, but in general, if you were just to slot it, whey, casein, pea protein is much slower than whey protein. That's absorption.
Mm-hmm. When would absorption matter? Or should it matter for the average person?
For the average person, probably not. Like if I'm starting to work with a new client who wants to change your body composition, right? They want to lose weight. They want to get some muscle definition. I don't mean like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just mean that they want to be able to show off their body and feel sexy and feel good, whatever that is to them.
Yeah.
Most often, I'm going to say, hey, you need to eat some more protein. So when we start talking about protein, they're going to ask, well, what kind should I take? How much should I take? What time should I take it? And they have this laundry list of questions, and they're all really valid questions. But I'm going to ask most people to step back and say, like, time out, right? You're getting into the details. Let's just try to get it into your diet. And when I say diet, I'm talking about the food and drink that you take into your body, not that you're following a diet, because a diet has an end date, and we teach lifestyles. Yes. So going back to the protein, I'm just trying to get it into your daily diet. If someone says, hey, I work out, should I take it before or after? I will likely say, yeah, if that fits with your lifestyle, yes, and let's talk through it. But in general, you can take it at 8 a.m., 2 p.m., 10 p.m. Like, I care, but I don't care.
So question for you. So you mentioned a few things when we started. It was, and you'll have to hit me again, but price, absorption, quality, bioavailability. Could you list those again really quick?
Yeah.
Okay. What were those again?
Coach Ryan is going to be taking notes, so everyone pay attention.
Yeah, I'm going to take notes, and then I have a follow-up question, which is why.
So it's absorption.
Okay.
Mixability.
Usability.
Usability. I'll talk about those. Ingredients. Biological value. Concentration. Overall price. And taste. Not listed in order of importance.
Well, this is where the second question comes in. Which is the order of importance? Like, out of all these things, because we have 7 things here, if we're thinking of almost a pyramid of priority for you, or generally, I should say, generally, what's like foundation? What's the most important out of these things usually?
There are 8 points, by the way. But
I only got 7.
Yeah.
I got absorption, mixability, usability, ingredients, biological or bioavailability, concentration, and taste. What was the
price?
Oh my God, price. Well, that's my foundation.
There you go. Number 1. No,
I'm kidding.
There isn't just one, because so if I were to choose 2 or 3 to look at together, it's going to be, you're going to be answering the question of, when are you going to take it? So you take it consistently, right? If you only take it once and then put it aside, like, big deal, right? So that's one question the person, whoever is going to be using this, needs to ask themselves or ask me, whoever they're working with, their trainer. 2, can they afford it? 3, and part of the first question is taste. Like, are you going to keep taking it, right? Because you like it.
Adherence. Yeah.
Right.
That's where my head goes.
Yeah. And it's different levels, because people have different mindsets. And some people are like, I don't care what it tastes like. Just give it to me. I'll
give me the most important. Yeah. Give me the
maximized
results.
Wow, yeah. Here, try this. And some people say, well, it doesn't taste like a candy bar, so I don't want to eat it. Like, well, and that's why you're working with us, right? We need to try to find that balance between how many candy bars and how much more protein you can get in your diet, right? So those 2. And then the third, it's kind of a combination. I would say it's ingredients.
Okay. So we have taste, price, and ingredients on the bottom, or most foundational?
For someone who's first starting out, not for someone who's taking this for a few months.
Okay, cool. So that makes a lot of sense. Taste, because you got to keep taking it. If you hate it, it's not gonna. You can have the best thing in the world, the most bioavailable, concentrated, maximum absorbing, mixability, but if you don't take it, it don't matter. So taste, price, right? Need to be able to do it consistently. Same thing with adherence, and then but ingredients. Yeah, let's talk about ingredients. First off, why are ingredients so important, and then what ingredients should we look for?
I don't want to get too far down into the details.
That's fine.
At a high level, it's not just, some of this is personal preference. Some people say, I
course.
only want to buy ingredients that are sourced in the US.
Sure.
That's fine. Like, this is
Right,
beyond,
more like
let's
ethical.
say that you found US based or wherever, like you don't care where they're coming from. So the question is, are they reputable sources, and can they back up their claims? And I'll tell a very quick story. Many of you know I have my own supplement line, and during COVID, whey protein became, because of the restrictions, like getting ingredients not only just into this country but within the country, like moving it around, and you heard about all the truck issues, right? All these issues.
Yeah, logistics. Yeah.
Whey protein and creatine also became really,
Like
really
gold.
expensive commodities.
It's like gold.
It was. So, like, I was fortunate that I was able to continue to provide creatine, but whey protein, we got to a point where we couldn't
Yeah, you couldn't get
provide
it.
it anymore. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Right.
And one of the reasons that we were unable, or actually unwilling, to continue to provide whey protein is when there were only a few manufacturers, like the big manufacturers. I don't mean like my manufacturer who's a boutique one, or GNC who's huge. I don't mean that level. I mean the people who are like we're getting it from, for us to make our proteins. So when we buy it from the source, there are tests that they run to show that it is whatever percent pure, like it is whey isolate and it's this percent pure or concentrate or whatever we're buying. Well, I don't know if other companies do this. I don't think some of them do, because I know that we would run our own tests just because they told us that it was at this level of purity. We're going to run our own test to make sure it's at that level, because it's my name on it, right? Like it's me, it's my brand. Most of the companies, very reputable, large, well-known, big-name companies who are saying that their products were at this level of purity, when we tested them, they were way down here. And
so why does purity matter?
Because two reasons. Number one, you get what you paid for.
Sure.
And the other side of that is you're paying for a high quality product. Number one, from my perspective, it's my name. But from a user perspective, if you think you're getting whey concentrate, you want your body to perform based on that whey concentrate. And most of the products out there at that time weren't. So it's false advertising. It's at best misleading information on the label. It's illegal. Okay. You can't do that.
Right. So this is ingredients. This also, I think, plays into also the bioavailability, the concentration of the absorption. Like this all plays into it together. I guess what I have a question of is like, so let's compare something like maybe a value brand, which is like maybe 6-star nutrition in a Walmart. That's like $20 for a 5-pound tub. Macros are great, right? We're talking about like 1 scoop, 20 grams of protein, maybe 1 gram of fat, 4 grams of carbs. And then we have another that, even if they have identical macronutrients, is 3 times the price. It's $60 for a 5-pound tub. I've even seen it more than that. You're saying there is a distinct difference between the two. I'm curious, what is the difference as a consumer that I'm going to be getting? Like, what's going to change? Why should this matter to me? And why shouldn't I just go to Walmart and pay $20 for a 5-pound tub and get more value?
Well, in addition to that, and I'll answer that, but in addition to ingredients, there are also fillers. Some companies use stevia instead of sucralose, or they'll use maltodextrin. Some of it is personal preference. Some of it is not. Like we chose stevia instead of sucralose because of the effects it has on your body, and that it's healthier for you.
What are the effects it has on your body?
Just how it responds to a sugar substitute or stevia, like just the actual ingredient itself. It's some of it is personal preference. Some people say, well, I can't tolerate maltodextrin, or I can't tolerate sucralose, or something like that. I've worked with clients who have different sensitivities, and most of them are okay with stevia or stevia extract. So that's why we choose that.
Makes sense.
Back to what you were saying. I'm not saying that all store brands are not good. But the example that you gave, and I don't have the ingredient list in front of me, while the macros may be the same, that doesn't mean that the quality of the ingredient is the same. So if it says whey concentrate, or if it says soy protein, whey concentrate is better for you in many respects than soy protein. So while you may get 20 grams of protein and 1 gram of whatever you said and 0 this and none of that, the quality of the ingredient that you're putting in your body is not the same quality. And the question is, if you're going to take this regularly, do you want to eat something that's not so good? And if you do, then go buy it. Like, I'm not telling you not to buy it. It's all personal preference. I'm also not saying that the most expensive is the best either.
Right.
Just some of that, right? They have to cover their marketing and all their overhead. So like, keep that in mind. I'm not saying
that's a good thing. No,
the lowest priced is necessarily bad. I would probably question it, because if they want to break even, they're going to have to pay for quality products. Okay.
Right.
And I'm not saying the most expensive is the best, because companies, a large portion of larger companies, almost any company's expense is marketing. And whether that's like radio or ads or podcasts, not that you're paying for this podcast.
By the way, this is sponsored by. Just kidding.
Please donate below, right?
Yeah, that's funny.
Whatever the marketing is, they have to pay for that.
Yeah.
And then if you have a celebrity endorser or an athlete or whatever, like we, the consumers, are paying for that. So a lot of times, smaller companies provide a high quality product at a lower price because we're able to, that we don't have all that marketing.
Right. So
and paying, when you buy something in a brick and mortar store, whether it's a Walmart or a GNC or any store, the manufacturer is trying to recoup the money from putting it out on the shelf, because the company, the company where it's sitting, like that store, they're getting a nice size profit from that.
Sure.
So either they're using subpar ingredients so they can still make a profit off of it, or they're increasing the price, or whatever it is.
So backing up a little bit, like we were talking about how, the difference between premium and maybe sub-premium or suboptimal ingredients and how it plays a role on the body. What is the role that it's playing? The first thing that comes to mind for me is like digestion, right? I notice for me, when I have a cheaper protein versus maybe a more expensive one, or one that is slightly higher priced, and like you said, higher price doesn't mean better, but there tends to be corollary. I know that when I used to take 6-Star Nutrition, my stomach would explode. So like it was bad. Like, oh my God, I would have stomach aches and all this stuff. Now granted, I'm not a scientist on the level of being able to go into the lab and see like what's actually happening with the protein synthesis, how much is getting absorbed, how much isn't.
Right.
So I don't know that. But what I do know is I felt like garbage. So what I did was I just slowly increased the price of the protein until I essentially felt good. And it wasn't necessarily for me as simple as going whey versus vegan or whatever. But I did find that there were a couple of brands and they just happened to be associated with like a slightly higher price point, whether it be like a couple that come to mind are like the Vega protein, or which I don't take anymore. I really don't take a protein powder anymore, actually, because I get in all mine from Whole Food, which is ideal. However, the chance of you doing that, or the individual doing that, is on the lower side, in which case this is where a protein supplement comes into place. But really quickly, if anyone's out there wondering as well, like, do I need protein to be able to get to the results, stuff like that? No. The reason they're called supplements is because they supplement what is missing. It's not a requirement, or else they'd be called requirements. So anyway, but is there anything that comes to mind for you as far as like, what is that? What am I going to feel, or what is the actual processes that are happening with a higher versus lower quality protein?
Well, from a user standpoint, Ryan, you touched on a lot of it, and it goes back to liking what you're taking and adherence. Mm-hmm. If you feel not so good after taking it, then then there's something in there that's not sitting with you well. That could be
Right.
the quality of the protein. It could be a filler. It
Right.
like each person would have to figure that out for themselves. What I look for in some of those 8 points that I talked about is if someone is going to be, that's one of my huskies. Real, you can't see her, but she's jumping up and down right now.
That's awesome.
She says hi. So some of it is mixability. If you're going to make a shake or if you're baking with it, especially if you're making a shake, if your protein is clumpy, and I mean you're mixing it, I don't mean you're just have a container of water or a glass of water. You put the protein powder and you're like, well, it's clumpy. Well, yeah, you didn't mix it. I mean, you
gotta shake it up.
Mix. Or put it in a shaker bottle and just shake it real quick.
Yeah.
If it gets clumpy, and if it truly is a high quality protein, then you didn't mix it enough. But a lot of the companies out there, especially the lower priced ones, they're clumpy and they don't taste that good, or they have an aftertaste, and it turns a lot of people off to protein powder.
Sure.
Usability is how many different ways can you use it?
Yes.
I use a lot of protein powder throughout the day. Not that I can't get it through food. It's just I get some through food. Don't get me wrong, but I also use protein powder because it's quick and I like the taste, and it's really versatile. At least mine is, and so I can drink it or I can eat it. Like there are different things you can do with it. So for people, pardon?
I was going to say, I remember you saying you like make it into, was it a pudding or you make it into?
I think we're working on putting something out there for a couple of people. Yeah. So some people who like you can make it ahead of time, you put it in the fridge, the freezer, whatever. So that's usability. Like are there different ways, if that's important to you, are there different ways that you could use it that fits with your lifestyle? When I mention concentration, I'm talking about some of the companies will say, some brands will say, take 1 scoop and high protein. Well, if their scoop is, let's just say this big, and you only get 10 grams of protein,
right?
Or you can take other companies. A scoop is generally like 30 cc's. It's pretty small. It's like this big. And you can get 20 grams of protein in it. Which one is a better value for you? Not only from money, but also from calories. Right. Most people are either trying to maintain or lose weight.
Right.
At least most of the people that we work with here.
Our community.
Our community. So that means every calorie that you put into your body is really valuable. Yes. And you need to make the choice of what you take in. Is it going to pull you further away from your goals, or is it going to bring you closer to your goals? So if you can eat this much protein, just looking at calories, 150 calories, because you have to take, let's say 200 calories, because you have to take 2 scoops to get 20 grams.
Yes.
Or you can take 100 calories and get 20 grams. Even if the protein is the exact same quality, you've just saved yourself 100 calories that either can help you lose weight or maintain your weight.
Yeah, you brought something up that I think is really powerful. This idea, we're all used to the idea of items being expensive based on price, but I feel like a lot of us haven't made that connection yet, and I hadn't for a very long time made the connection of calories being expensive compared to what they give us, and that can be physically and it can be emotionally. And this is why I think it's so important to be able to weigh out foods on this matrix, if you will, of like, hey, how much does that satisfy you emotionally compared to how actually optimal is that food to be able to, we'll say, be in a caloric deficit, lose weight, get enough protein? Like, what is the rating of the quality of that food? Because for some people, it's worth them having a 2 quality food out of 10 that fulfills them emotionally at 10 in the short term.
Yep.
But if something's a 2 and it only fulfills you a 3, get rid of it. It's below the median. It's below the line. Like, toss it. But if we have something that's like an 8 that fulfills you emotionally, that's maybe like an 8 that is also quality, like, hold on to that. That is a brilliant thing. If those 2 numbers are higher than like 10 or 12 when you add them up, you're in a sweet spot. And what we want to try to do, like, And when we think about the 4 steps to the R in Body Breakthrough that you guys may have seen before, just a quick reminder, step 1 is to create low effort, high reward results based actions so that you start to feel pulled towards these actions, which is step 2, where you create positive feedback loops. So you feel pulled towards these actions. And then 3, you adapt and change. And that's where we're constantly looking maybe at this matrix and we're saying, okay, what are the foods that maybe are the next ones that are the lowest quality, that are giving you the lowest, I'll say, benefit? And let's toss them because they're too expensive to you calorically, too expensive to your transformation, and too expensive to, I'll say, where they're not benefiting you emotionally. And I know that's kind of a weird, abstract topic maybe to talk about, but I feel like it's one that is so powerful because when we look at food as being expensive versus good value, it's not just about the price, it's about what we get from it, and I don't know if that rant is beneficial to anybody out there. If you resonate at all with anything we're saying, feel free to let us know in the comments so that we know we're not crazy. It's always good to say hello as well. Hope you're all having a great Monday. I think there's like a 4-minute delay as well on the live, which is really interesting.
Were you able to tag people?
I was.
Good.
I was, but there's like a 4-minute delay when I look. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's a 4-minute delay. I don't know. But what would be some of these closing thoughts as people are choosing protein or looking for protein?
I think a lot of it comes down to what you want. And one way to do this is if you work with a trainer, the idea behind that is that you trust a trainer for their experience and their knowledge and their schooling and all of that. Ask them what they think based on you, and they should be able to give you specific either questions to ask yourself, like, hey, consider this. Ask yourself which is most important. How are you going to eat it? When are you going to eat it? That kind of thing. And that's how you make your choice. And know that your body, in my opinion, your body is worth the investment. And I don't mean just money. Part of this is money, but your body is worth the investment. And if you don't need to be perfect, just keep trying to do better. And
that's all it is.
Can be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just 1%. I mean, it's kind of like that, it's kind of becoming a trope in this space because we talk about it so much. But I'll pull this up because it's just really cool to be able to see it. And I'm talking, of course, about the Atomic Habits. 1% growth daily leads to 37 times growth in a year. And I mean, we can see it there. We'll make it big for a second.
Yeah.
And we can just see it. Like it's wild to think about. Oh, let me share this tab. There we go. It's wild to think about. Bring it down. Where are we? There we go. Whew. Took a second there. One more time. It's wild to think about, but literally just 1% change daily over a year's time compounding leads to 37 times growth in a year. 1% worth daily leads to, well, we don't even want to think about that.
Right.
But it's just this idea of all we need to do is 1%. That's it. Just be a little better than we were yesterday. I think the problem that a lot of us get into is we play the hare instead of the tortoise. And we start our journey and we say, well, I'm going completely from this side all the way to this side. But then eventually we just like a rubber band snap back. And instead, if we can just look at what we did yesterday or the week before, just say, okay, well, what's one more thing I can do that's low pain, high pleasure that can stack, right? And then protein can be part of that, but then you're just off to the races. We did have some questions come in, which I think are great.
Good.
Amy does say, hey, I'm here. This is very helpful. Well, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad it's helpful. Amy says, my question is the extra calories from collagen powder that has protein in it, plus the protein powder in my breakfast shake. So what's the question, Amy? Are the extra calories worth it? Are the extra calories, I'm not 100% sure of the question. If the question is, are the extra calories worth it? Yeah, collagen powder essentially is all protein, but then you're looking at what is the collagen powder, like what is the quality of it and that sort of thing. Collagen powder, a lot of the times, like I know this sounds weird, but like collagen is the protein that makes up our fingernails. So it's like technically you could just be eating ground up fingernails, and that could be your, not saying that's going to be the case, but go ahead. You got something to say on that?
I'd like to weigh in on that.
Yeah, please.
So there are different types of collagen. And again, I'm not certain of, like Coach Ryan said, we're not certain of your question, but I have two different answers. One is if the question is it worth it? It depends on how that fits with your daily caloric intake, right?
Sure.
And neither of us know that right now. The other way to look at that is if you're taking in collagen, what other things are you seeing a benefit, and what other ingredients are part of it? Like I know my collagen includes hyaluronic acid, and that's helpful in all different ways. So you're getting cushioning for your joints and other things. You're also getting protein. And if that's what fits, if that helps you and that's what fits in your daily diet, then it's worth it. And those are questions that or if you're working with, one of the other coaches, you can ask that coach for more information on.
Yeah, one other thing I think that's worth noting too is like what we always ask what's the outcome? Because of course in this context, in this community, maybe it's always going to be around weight loss and transforming your body sustainably. But I have like my wife, for example, she's 29 or 28. Oh, close one. She's not turning. I know her birthday. It's the 17th of April. but for her, like she's not trying to lose weight, but she eats collagen protein, and it's like, well, why? And for her, it's not even about getting in protein. It's just the fact that she wants her nails and hair to grow quicker. So that's it. So she just takes collagen as a supplement as a beauty supplement, less about like trying to get in protein for other reasons. So if that's a benefit, like sure, there's that too. She did follow up and said, I'm 50 and achy and premenopausal and thought it would help. I don't know if you have any feedback on that, Sharon. And this says, could you recommend some good collagen protein powder brands?
I don't. You'd have to get some feedback from your doctor. I don't understand. I don't know why you're achy. If it's your joints, collagen, especially with hyaluronic acid, could absolutely help. A lot of my clients take it for that reason. I don't know many of the collagen. I don't know many of the other brands out there that carry collagen protein. I can only speak about my own.
So quick plug. Where is it?
We'll put it in the link below. It's Catalyst for Fitness. It's called Collagen Peptides Protein. There's also whey and vegan that are available. I'll put it out there in the link below afterward.
Cool. And then there was one other thing I want to mention with this as well.
Yeah.
So the other thing when it comes to being achy, I know a lot of the times, especially when I was working one-on-one in person with clients, a lot of the times when we feel achy, it's overtension in the system. And it depends on what you consider as achy. But like, for example, if you are doing any type of movement, like let's say a tricep extension, or you're doing a squat and your knees hurt, your hips hurt, and a joint hurts, yes, it can be the fact that there's not enough, we'll say, what is that? Collagen, I guess you could say, or there's not enough, like your bone on bone. That's possible. Fluid. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how collagen would help. Like, I mean, I guess it would help more than connective tissue. Like,
right.
If we're thinking about the joint and pain in a joint, a lot of the time people, again, similar with weight loss, think that, the problem's irreversible, I cannot change it. And that can very well be true. But what I've noticed, at least in my study, and I'm very interested in kinesiology and the way the body moves, probably even more than nutrition. And I remember I studied under Dr. Kelly Starrett, and one of my big takeaways from his teachings was always 98% of the pain people have in joints is overtension, and it's not from trauma. Trauma is trauma is also in the category of something you cannot change. You need surgery to fix it. 98% of the time, it's overtension in the system, and it all comes downstream from the spine. So if you have something wrong with your elbow, like you have tennis elbow or whatever, usually it's something upstream that we can connect. It's actually, it's usually not this simple, like your tricep, but as we go up, your tricep might be screaming, but that's screaming because your traps are screaming, and that's screaming because your lower traps aren't activated, and so on and so forth. So the good news is a lot of the pain that you currently experience, if it's joint related through movement, can be fixed. You just got to know the next step. And again, this goes back to what we were talking about even last podcast, I believe, with Coach Charity, which is this idea that like our beliefs shape what we do. Meaning, if you believe that you totally can get rid of your pain and lose weight and transform your body forever, you will find actions to support that. And even if you're wrong, as long as your belief stays strong, you will keep searching. Now, on the other side, if you believe, like we had somebody in the comments last week say, well, my doctor said that I'm X and I'm always going to be overweight. Well, first thing I would say is switch doctors, because that's not empowering you to live your best life. Yes, doctors are there to tell you information, but they also hold a lot of power, and they have the power to shape your beliefs. And if they say to you, hey, what are you even trying for? It's never going to work. You're probably not going to do it, especially if you hold them in authority. But the fact of the matter is, you always have power to make your situation better than it is. I'm not saying that person doesn't have a genetic disorder. What I am saying is they will have a better life and live longer and healthier if they start doing exercise and watching what they're eating, versus saying, well, it's out of my control, so why even try, right? So again, I'm kind of going on a tangent. I know this isn't about you now, but this is for anyone out there who maybe is stuck in victim mentality. Like, yes, your hormones could play a factor. They are not the factor.
Right.
100%. Amy says, thanks. You bet. Kathy says, I find that hot infrared sauna helps with joint pain. Totally can. And there's a lot of things that can help. I mean, you want to hear something really funny? That's like, again, could be just correlation and not causation. I had a client who had chronic pain. Chronic. I'm saying like, she's nurse practitioner, so like 7 out of 10 pain on that scale, which she has pretty good pain tolerance, but she couldn't even unclench her jaw. It was so tight. She had so much pain. You want to know what got rid of her pain after 15 years of trying to find specialists to help her and all this stuff? We reduced her stress. We increased her sleep. I know that sounds so stupid. We started connecting power to what she could not control. We gave up on the things she couldn't control, saying like, hey, this is not within my zone of control. This is in my zone of concern. I can only control these things. So let me break free. Hey, I can't control my kids. I can't control my husband. I can't control any of that. I can only control myself. And a lot of the stress melted away. And literally in 3 weeks, she got her blood panels done. And for the first time, she was saying that her pain was under a 5. And it had been progressively getting worse over 10 years. And this is where it's really important to note that everything is not like medical, right? Like she was going to medical professionals to fix her pain. Oh, well, take this antibiotic, take this steroid, take this, take that, take this, take that. When really that was a symptom that they were treating, and it was something systemic that needed to be changed, right? And sometimes in the healthcare field, I think we've all been here. It's easy to get into the field of the habit of just treating symptoms, where it's like, oh, I'm in pain or I'm tired. So how do I fix that, doctor? Well, you could start taking caffeine, or, of course the doctor's probably not going to say that. They're going to say, hey, probably get more sleep. Well, I can't sleep. Well, here, take this sleep aid. Where instead why can't you sleep in the first place? Oh, well, I don't know. My brain just keeps working. And your doctor generally will look to the medical, well, try this to sleep. Versus, hey, maybe we should look at what's causing you to stay awake in the first place. Why is your mind racing? Why are there so many tabs open in your brain that you cannot close them? Maybe that should be looked at, right? So if there's anything to take away from this ending of the call, it is this idea that try to fix your causes and not your symptoms, because I can promise you that if you have not been able to solve a problem that has been, we'll say, systemic or has been here for a long time, it's probably something underlying that has not been solved yet. So you need to look a layer deeper versus just trying to solve a symptom. Anyway, that's my rant to end this call. Woo! All right, fun stuff. If this was helpful, feel free to tell us in the comments. If you want more of this, feel free to let us know. Let us know a topic you want us to cover. Feel free to like this. And if you hated it and you're like, yo, Sharon was great, but Ryan, you really need to watch those tangents because those suck, let me know in the comments as well. And I'll never be on these lives again. No. I'm just kidding. Amy says, yes, thanks. Kathy says, I agree with that, Ryan. Take care of ourselves, including minimizing overbooking to decrease stress. Definitely. I will see you guys. Amy says, Kathy says, nice tangents. Let's go. All right. I will see you guys soon. We'll be live later in the week. Bye.